It has to go live for me to do it because there's a delay now.
Oh, okay. Well, it's live.
See, it's still not live on my end. Come on. No, the thing has to come down.
What has to come down?
The picture up here.
Why?
Readings of... I'm not sure why it's not coming up, but it's not.
Oh, I see what you mean. Take that down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll find it.
Am I confusing you, cat still?
I found it. So,
Well, I'm not getting it this time, but it'll come.
well, it should be. It's hooked up to Facebook, to YouTube, and to the birdie one, Twitter.
The birdie one.
Oh, that's
I like
okay.
One, Mom.
I like that, the birdie one.
So next week we have to change the date to Thursday because I'm going to a haunted house on Wednesday.
Nice. It's not
Hello, Shar.
notification, but I'm going to send it out anyways.
Okay. Hello, Shar. I hope you're having a good night.
Mm-hmm. Hello, everybody. So, Darcy, you'll have to let me know because I can't see anything.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Oh, because I can't see anything.
You're going to have to turn your volume.
Second.
Okay.
There we go.
Just a minute. The technical technician forgot the password.
Don't forget the password. You did enter the password.
Okay. Hello, Shar. Hello, Mr. Khan. Hello, Melissa.
Read Mr. Khan's message.
My question, how come I didn't win the lotto? Laughed out loud, just hard for me. Well, Mr. Khan, you know the rule, me first, then you. So, hello, Elaine. So, welcome to tonight's show. I am using Curious Creatures. Sandra Murray. Sandra Murray gave them to me, not Sandra Brown.
I'm using two. I'm using the Green Tarot, always one of my favorites. And Darcy bought this for me last fall, and I thought it would be fun to pull an occasional card from here. Check out the gruesome pictures, guys. Oh, wait.
Yeah, you already showed that. Okay, well, I'm going to let you start with Shar.
Okay, I'll tell you what. We're going to start with then. She gets the Skull of Stars. So there you go, Shar. Why think so small when galaxies spin within? Realize that you are made of the stuff of stars. And that means that this is a time now for infinite possibility. A time for you to move forward. You know, everybody feels small from time to time. The Skull of Stars says now is the time not to feel small. Now is the time for you to, you know, dust yourself off, put your shoulders back, take deep breaths, and move forward, honey. Just move forward.
Okay, she actually asked a question. I just saw it. Can I get a reading regarding my late son's case? His name was Billy, and his murderer is still walking free. So
that's going to take some time. I think that because you only just recently found out who the person was, Answers don't happen overnight. And remember, I know you want the murderer not to be walking free, but your initial question was, who did it? And you have been given an answer. And it might take longer for the legal process to happen. So be careful, let everyone know how you found out, and keep the police aware of everything.
Okay. Mr. Khan, hey, look at this. You got the money card. Look at that. 2 of coins. Balance. And the balance isn't just about balancing life, but it's obviously balancing money, but it's also balancing the inner you, making sure that you're taking time for yourself, that you're replenishing your soul. Because if, as you go through life and you help everyone else, it's important that you also look after yourself and you help yourself. So I'm going to say it's all about balance. And the word I'm hearing that I'm supposed to use is fortitude. It's all about fortitude. Isn't that about money? I'm not sure. You'd have to look up the word. Okay, next is Melissa.
Melissa, for you, the 6 of Wands. Now, this is a card of victory and success and public recognition. So victory can be that you recently tried to achieve something and whoops, and it means that the fanfare is out there, but it might not be as loud as you want. But remember that the actual victory isn't that everybody else recognizes how amazing a job you did. It's that you inside know how an amazing a job you did. I also think that there is some need for communication with someone. If you wanted, something you want more, say, for example, you want a little more responsibility at work, a little more ability to use your education. No one's a mind reader. Well, maybe Darcy is, but most people are not mind readers, and therefore you have to speak. It's like that old expression, you want your husband or your boyfriend to send you flowers. Well, if you don't tell them what you want, 20 years from now, you're still going to want your husband or your boyfriend to send you flowers. It's like that with jobs, honey.
Okay. Elaine, hi, how are you? I have for you the Knight of Pentacles. And the first thing it made me think of is you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Okay. So there may be something you want done. And to get it done, a little reverse psychology, if you're asking someone else to do it, show them how to do it. The other portion of it is, makes me feel like you need to just be a little patient. Sometimes when we're trying to do something and it's reluctant, it won't fall into place, that it is important that you just take a step back, look at it and say, can I fit these puzzle pieces together in a different way if I tilt it a little? Or you do what I do, get a pair of scissors, cut it so it fits and stick it in. But then you might be short a little bit. But they're saying that be patient, whatever it is that you are trying to lead either someone to or yourself to, you're going to get there. Just be sure it's really what you want before you do. All right, Tamala is next.
Which Tamala?
Tamala Millar.
Tamala Miller, honest to God, the card I chose for you is the Mummy, and the Mummy signifies change. So with ancient Greeks, not Greeks, Egyptians, mummies were, death was a very serious thing. Not because your life was ending, but death was taken very seriously because, bodies were preserved and prepared for the next journey. I think that it's also about honoring the body, not someone preparing you for death. You, Rich.
You did bring out those Halloween cards. It's hard to say.
It's about preparing, yourself for a better future, new beginnings, new starts. It's also about, like I said, change. Maybe you're going to buy a new place, or maybe there's going to be a change because you're tired of where you are. So look for change. It's sort of like rebirth. There's the word I'm looking for. This is a time of rebirth. And this light is eventually going to kill me because all I can see are round circles in my eyes.
Well, you're not looking at anyone but the round circles, so you're good. Okay. Alana, hi, how are you? Alana, you have the 3 of Wands. And the 3 of Wands, it's not a very clear picture. Oh, there, wait. I'd stick, like I told my boss, I'd rub the center, but then it would be grainier. So, Alana, the 3 of Wands, notice how he's up early. He's waiting for the sun to come above the mountains. And he's got decisions to make. He, she, it, they, them. And there's decisions to be made. And in the process of it, do we hold on to what we know because when we're reluctant to let it go, maybe because of fear and of change and stuff like that? Are we holding on to it because it's so comfortable that we know we don't have to look at it to know what we're doing? So maybe change is something that you're having a little trouble with right now. And it's okay to hold on to what you know best, but you're still going to have to look at change. So I'm going to say, take your time doing it, but it is going to happen. Next is our cousin Sandy. Hi, Sandy. And Michael says hello to you. So you have Sandy.
Hi, Michael. This is the 8 of Wands. Now, the 8 of Wands talks about news coming towards you. It also talks about communication. And there are brooms in this 8 of Wands. They're actually called Scotch brooms. I had to look these up. And brooms, I do have one in the closet here. Darcy has a couple behind her, I see. Brooms are about communication. Brooms communicate to us. You know, a broom drops unexpectedly in your house. It's like the knife. If a broom suddenly, just for no reason at all, is standing in the corner and next thing you know, it's somehow managed to end up in the middle of your floor, you're having uninvited company. So that is actually a message for you. Don't be surprised if you have uninvited company. I promise you it won't be me because my broom doesn't fly anymore. But you are going to get uninvited company. So be gracious and just kind of let it roll. And a possibility that something's changing with your work. So keep that in mind.
Okay, and just a small reminder for everyone that as we go down the list, we see your names, we'll read the card for you. So if you have something you want to ask, put it in that little box because, yes, I may be a mind reader, but sometimes I don't always know what you want.
I'm not. But yes, Pamela, those are new cards. I'm not the mind reader. She is. Me, I'm just, you know.
Hi, Cindy. Cindy, you have the 5 of Wands, and this looks like a tug of war, but notice how balanced they are on those high sticks or wands. And the light energy between the two of them tells me that whatever the idea is going to come together, it's going to merge together. It's going to be like that little light bulb that goes off in our heads and we say, oh my God, that's what I should be doing. So it could very likely be something to do with health, that there's a new medicine, a new technique, something like that, because that's what it's feeling like. That you may be looking at, Cindy, and as you look at it, you really have to go deep inside and listen to the intuitive voice that says yay or nay. And we all know our own intuitive voice, so I'm going to say have a listen to it. Next is Jessica.
Jessica, for you, the Oracle card, Winter, and it actually says the sacredness of pausing. Now, I hate to say this because, you know, in Calgary, it was plus 24, and here in Edmonton, I think it hit like literally plus 23. These are not normal highs for October. But sooner or later, the world and our second corner of the world is going to start transitioning into winter. And what this card, when it says take pause, it means that take pause. Take pause to give thanks. Take pause to be appreciative of the things that you have. And maybe even start a grateful journal. I was recently reminded, a friend of mine sent me a little thing from about Alan Watts, a little YouTube thing that reminded me, and this is for you, that life is actually not a journey. We have to step out of the journey implies that we have a final destination, when what we really have is nothing at all. We just take pause in this moment, this breath, and write what you are grateful for. It may not be exactly what you wanted to achieve when you made that elusive plan, but right where you are and the things you are grateful, take pause to give thanks.
All right. So, Mastora, what's really interesting is I wrote a note. Go back and read for Mr. Khan's wife. So there you are. The Wheel of Fortune for you. And this is really sitting in the driver's seat, but this is a little more about this one is when I look at it, it's being that brave person who's going to go out there and try something new. And it could be that you're going to be looking at a new job. They're saying 4, so that could be 4 weeks, 4 months from now, but you yourself may be looking at a job. But there's also a little, I hear someone saying, time will tell. No, that's not it. Time's like a keeper. Okay. So there may be something here that you're timing, you're waiting for it to happen. Now I get A, which could be the autumn, which we are in, or it could be April or August, something happening in that time frame. Maybe that's what I'm after, time frame. And whatever it is, it feels positive, it feels upbeat, it feels like you're the person in control of it. So it's definitely something for you and something that I feel a lot of joy attached to it. So I'm just going to say heads up, if you get an offer and you really like it, it may be well worth looking at. Okay, Orville's next, then Gloria, and then Tina.
Orville, for you, the card Harvest. So this card says you've done all these things to improve yourself. You've created plans and templates. And now is the time for you to sort of gather, take stock of what you have, and set that plan into motion. You know, we can always talk about what we're doing, but it doesn't become anything more than talk in a dream until we've literally started this change that we want to have. And I'm also being told that occasionally it's okay to leap before you look. You know, there's always that old adage our gran used to say, look before you leap, still waters run deep. But once in a while, it's okay to take that leap of faith. And that you tend to be a little more cautious because of circumstance. But now's the time to take a leap of faith. One of two things will happen. You will make it to the other edge, or you'll fall in the water and swim like hell.
Yep.
And still make it to the other edge.
Okay, hi, Gloria. You have the Ace of Swords. Springtime is going to be a shift, a change, flying in a direction you want to go. It could be that if you haven't retired, you're looking at retirement, or if you have retired, you're looking at taking something part-time. And it feels like it's not overwhelming, but it definitely seems to be interfering in the flow of what you want to do. So I'm just going to say, you know, take a step back. I love the idea of always taking that step back and having a look and saying, you know what, maybe this isn't fitting. So I can either let it be, or I can change it so it falls into synchronicity with me. So I'm just saying that sometimes we're the people that have to decide what is best for us, not other people.
Is that like cutting the edges off the puzzle piece so it fits?
Absolutely. So next is Tina, and she also asked for a card for her mom, so I'm going to let you do both of them.
Okay, so Tina, you know, let's do your mom first, okay?
Her mom is Brenda.
Brenda, We're going to do you first. All I knew was Mom. Remember, I can't read anything. Werewolf for Brenda. I speak English sometimes on a daily basis, but bear with me. The werewolf talks about change. It talks about exploring that inner wildness of yours. You followed the rules, you did all the things you want to do, and then really, seriously, did you really do all the things that you wanted to do? Because you had to follow rules to get there. Some of the things we want to do don't fit in the rule book. The rule book said that at 65, I should be saving every cent I make and having this wonderful RSP or something in the next 10 years. And I decided to buy a house because that's what I wanted to do. And I could. I mean, yes, some things execute plans, but in the end, you're living your best life, not anyone else's best life, not the best life that you think your grandchildren would like of you or your children or your great-grandchildren. We're talking about what is the story at the end of your days that you want to tell. So, embrace a little wildness, reveal who you are, the inner child, the inner demon, that sort of thing. Be a little freer with who you are and what you want. Now, the daughter's name was?
Tina.
Tina. Lots of things going on. Tina, the Three of Pentacles. There's a couple things here going on in this. You are receiving, I want to say you're receiving a gift of some kind. It feels like the gift of knowledge or the gift of music. You're kind of like accolades of who you are and where you've been. A stork, actually, I think it looks like a crane. I don't know, not crane. Heron.
Stork?
No, heron.
Oh, heron.
Heron. And they're so someone is coming towards you that is, very protective of the things it catches and wants to know that you're provided for. And that could be a shift in your relationship or a shift in what you're looking for. And that sometimes, although people who are younger might beg to differ, sometimes people who are older might not know everything. God knows I don't. But they have lived and they have experienced a vast amount of life that others who are younger have not. And unless you can literally time jump and time warp through your entire life and come back with all that knowledge, sometimes someone older is right. That's a tough one. Even I hate to admit that someone older might actually know what they're talking about. Unless, of course, you're me, and I don't always believe that someone older than me or younger than me knows what they're talking about. So ears open, take some advice if it's given. Some news is coming and a shift.
Okay. Hi, Megan. I saw your hello, and I just happened to read down. So I'm going to answer your question as well as pull the card. So to answer your question, she wants to know, I'm wondering if Sophie is at peace. Yes. And then I pulled this card, which would have said yes to me anyways. So I pulled the card, then I read your question. And it's like, look at me. I'm gorgeous. I'm fine. My wings are there and I'm getting ready for flight, but I still have some emotional issues I need to deal with. And I feel that for yourself, sometimes things are easy to see black and white, yes and no. But when it comes to maybe, I've always felt that maybe leans a little bit more to no, unless something can really, really change our mind. So, and because of the blue and the green, this is about healing, and it's about time, and it's about consideration. But what I feel is everything balances the way life is meant to be, whether we like it or not. It still is balanced. So yes to your answer, and just know that life is balanced. Things are working out exactly the way they are meant to be, not necessarily the way we want them, but they are working out. So Patty is next, and Elaine said thank you.
Patty, for you, the card goes. Sweetheart, there's a couple things about ghosts, but what ghosts most represent is regret. And I don't mean regret because they haven't lived a good life or regret because they've died, but a lot of ghosts linger because of regret. They didn't get to say that last thing. They didn't get to hear that last thing. And this card, for some reason, is supposed to be yours because I started doing a different card for you, and this one fell. So I'm asking you to put aside regret. I recently had a discussion with someone who said, do you regret what happened in the past? I can't go back and change that past. Darcy can't go back and change that past, at least not in this lifetime. So we cannot continuously live a life of regret, because that regret is what will tie us here. When our time at the end of this amazing, whatever it is, thing we call life, regret will hold our spirit here. You know, people say it's what holds our spirits here is the mourning of lost ones. Well, some of that is true, but the vast majority of what holds the spirit here in place is regret. So put aside your regret. You cannot change the past. You cannot fix it. There's no sense even wishing that it didn't exist, because everything that you are this moment, go look in the mirror when we're finished here. Everything you are, everything you represent, every good thing you have ever done is because of that past. So why the hell regret it any longer? And there you go.
All right. Hello, Christina. Christina, you have the moon. Look, sometimes we do have to go out and howl to the moon because, sometimes we just need to release the pent-up energy inside of us. And I have been known to dance under the moon sometimes, and I do look to make sure no one's watching.
Oh, please.
But I do have my clothes on, so there's a bonus there. And I feel like you need to go out, go into the woods, go into the backyard, warn your neighbors if you're going to do some screaming so they don't phone 911. And I understand, I think we now have 999 too. But don't quote me on that, check it. But anyways, if you feel like screaming, go out there and do it and get it off your chest so that when you come back in, you can look at the problem and see it rationally, see it the way it is meant to be. All right. So I am going to say it doesn't hurt to let off a little steam. I've actually considered starting one of those padded rooms, not with the straight jacket, where you can go in and smash things. I saw it on TV once and I thought, what a clever idea. You're having a bad day, you go in, you put your boss's face on it, and you just smack the crap out of it and you feel much better. I don't know, they appreciate my take on that, but nonetheless, I still think it's a great idea.
I think Darcy's point is very valid, hon. When my father-in-law, God rest his soul, was palliative, I drove out 3 times a week to Barhead. So people who live here, that's about an hour outside of the city here, from January to May. And after the second week, I didn't even know what to do with how I was feeling. And a friend of mine messaged me from down east and said, do what you always do, Penel. Go dancing in the field. Well, every time I went to see him, 2-3 times a week, there's a pull-off off of Highway 33 and 40-something, and I would pull into this rest stop, turn the music up so loud, open all the windows of my then Jeep, get out and jive. And I very seldom noticed if cars were passing until about a month down the road. I came in this one day, and my father-in-law says, well, hello, dear. I said, Daddy-O, can I help you? He says, I hear my favorite witchy poo is dancing on the side of the road in the snowstorm we're having. So, you know what? He loved it. People who see, you'll bring them joy.
Yeah. Okay, so next is Jeannie and Brandon. So you have those two.
Okay. Brandon. What am I going to... Brandon, I'm going to choose for you the Witch's Tarot. Okay. One of the first things this says is, like, you notice this person is hiding their personal belongings. They're actually protecting them. You know, I'm not saying that you have dishonest friends. That's not what I'm saying. But it says be very careful. You know, we broadcast everything on the internet. We show pictures of our kids, pictures of anything that we've achieved. And we need to be a little bit more careful because we're heading into rough times with the financial situation the way it is, the groceries, everything. And people get envious. So this is saying, don't be so flamboyant with showing off everything you have. It's not saying lock and bar your doors unless you live in an area of a city that's necessary with the 3 locks and everything. But it's saying be cautious. It's talking about not being so extravagant with things because we're not going into a depression, but we are in all the countries going into some pretty heavy recession. So be frugal, be a little bit more inclined to keep what's yours to yourself. Okay? And Janine, how do you say her name? Jeannie, the skeleton card for you. Now, this talks about strength. This talks about inner strength as well as external strength. When we think about strength, we think about, going to the gym, weightlifting, being able to do all that really cool stuff that people do with it. But it also talks about having that inner strength, that ability to know that you can take care of yourself, that that you're taking care of your outer body and you're taking care of your inner spirit. It's also about having the strength to be, the word is I'm looking for, the strength and the courage to be vulnerable, to quit. In your case, it's the opposite, and it's saying that there are people that you can tell how you're feeling. That if you're stressed out or something, talk to your husband, talk to a close friend, as opposed to, once again, maybe making a cryptic remark somewhere that can be misconstrued. Talk to the people you're closest to and remember, you can be vulnerable. There's no sin in not being the Rock of Gibraltar. Rock's chip.
Right. And it would appear that I missed Aaliyah. So when I pulled your cards, honey, you actually got 2 cards. So I'm going to bring them both up. You got the 2 of Wands and you have the High Priestess. And I really need to clean that camera lens. The High Priestess makes me think a great idea. Whatever it is you're thinking, go forward, do it because it's going to happen. And because you have the time and the patience to do it. Made me think of watching the movie Breakfast at Tiffany's. And the 2 of Wands, well, red high heel shoes do wonders for people's self-esteem as well as push the butt out a little so people notice. But new key to a house, new key to an idea, either of the ways to look at it. So it feels as though there's some interesting opportunities being presented to yourself. Cindy said, thank you. And Tamala said, nice new cards. And next is, let me make sure I get this right, Heather. Hello, Heather.
Hi, Heather. Just a sec. You know something, honey? Trust your intuition. Start believing in the things that, everyone has a little bit of intuition, and some people have more than others. It's stronger. You need to start listening to your inner voice a little bit more. Also, I'm being told to ask you to have patience, 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 patience. Rome wasn't built in a day. Yes, yes, I can almost hear you saying yes, but it burnt in a day, but it actually didn't burn down in a day either. It took a few days to get there. So, patience, what you're looking for, is coming. In the meantime, why don't you tap into your intuitive abilities? Check into some intuitive healing, even. You can always practice on your partner.
Mhm. Jessica said thank you, and Mastoro said thank you, and Liam, you have the Page of Wands, and I know you don't have daughters, but strangely enough, I was thinking the song that came into my head was Age of Aquarius, and I don't know who sings it, but it was in my head, and it made me feel like, maybe you guys need to go dancing, or maybe there's something here that you do in a way that it's like a dance. You do a little, Heather does a little, you do a little. And all I know is it seems to be movement. It seems to be change. And I'm hearing positive are we in October? Yes. So we're in October. So somewhere in the next week or so, there's a little halt on our plan, but it gets picked up again in November. So I'm just going to say a little change goes a long way. Okay, and just bear with me as I bring the mouse down the page. Gloria says, thank you. Next is Carrie. Okay, I'm just checking my sheet to make sure I haven't forgotten anyone. Nope, Carrie's next.
Carrie.
Or
the eight.
Kara.
Kara?
Kari. Yeah.
What's her last name?
McCandless.
Carrie.
Miss
I think it's
McCandless.
Carrie. I think it's Carrie. The eight of Athens. So you've got to believe that even though that you're kind of bound up here and you can't see a way through any kind of chaos that you're in, and you can see the storm, right? The dark clouds, the tree, and there's all these swords or knives in the ground, and chances are you're going to get cut by one or two of them. But what that's actually saying is, first, you're more than capable of taking the blindfolds off. But remember, you can get yourself through anything, even through a field of sharp items, if you go slowly and cautiously. You can only face one thing at a time. You can have this entire field full of things that are sharp and Barbie and one that you know are going to hurt you at some point, or you think you know, because there's a difference. And the only thing you can end up doing is dealing with the very first one in front of you. Because if you try to leap over to what you think is going to be a simpler thing to deal with, all of those other things in front of you are going to hurt you. We can only deal with what's directly in front of us. So take away the blindfold of fear and move forward slowly. I'm not saying, oh, yank out whatever is sharp and whip it through your palm. I'm saying you can't deal with it until you face it, one step at a time. There's this little rhyme I used to say to myself, that you can't get past the pain until you can step one step past the rain. And it's about, that was for when I was learning to walk, when I lost the use of my left leg for several years. I had to walk with a cane and drag a leg. And a counselor, a physiotherapist, and a psychologist said, find something catchy to help you, because if you sit there, of course that first step's going to be a son of a bitch, and so is the fourth step. But you find a way to face the first step, or face the first obstacle, or you're never going to get through it. You're just going to wander blindfold and get yourself hurt. So have faith. You've got this.
All right. Hello, Cynthia. And just quickly, Cynthia, Tina said thank you. We have Lovely Cut Knife, Jeanette, and then Kat. So, Cynthia, to answer your question, yes, she is around you. And what I see is a big sunflower, but I also feel that there's a gentleman with her as though he's holding her hand and helping her along the way. I feel as though, well, I feel as though she's ready already to move on, that she's not going to stay on the other side that long, and that there will be a reoccurrence of her, is what I'm hearing, inside the family. So it could be someone who's coming into the family, could be getting another grandchild, or that has the similarity to her, that piece of her that wasn't finished needs to finish in this lifetime. But I know she's okay. I also, not just the sunflowers, but I'm seeing the red tip hawk, is it? I think that's what it is, red tip hawk. I see that too. So she is okay. All right, Lovely Cut Knife is next. Hello, Lovely. She's all yours.
Okay,
Name.
for you, I drew the owl. And as we all know, owls are messengers. They're about, in this case, this card literally says, wise seeing, wise action. Listen to the message you're receiving and act on that piece of information you've got. I think too, some of this has to do with learning. And if there's any resistance you have to learning, that you may not always understand what it is you're being taught, but at some point in time, the vast majority of it will hold power for you. So be like the owl, be wise, move forward with that wisdom. And remember, there's also messages coming for you as well from Spirit. It's time to cook a little bannock. I'm being told you haven't made as much as you usually do. And is it your Muslim or your Gookum who says they don't particularly care that it's not very good? I'm sorry, it's just a message I'm getting. But that's okay. Neither is mine, to be perfectly honest with you. So I hope that helps. And go listen to the messengers.
Okay. Hello, Jeanette. How are you? I hope you're doing fine down in the U.S. You have the Magician, and he makes me feel like getting up, dancing, but he makes me feel very agile. There's what I'm looking for. So maybe a little stretching, a little yoga, a little Tai Chi to move the energy away. Mm-hmm. But it also feels like, the magician, if you look at part of the word, it's magic. So maybe it's bringing the magic in, and with Halloween coming up around the corner here, maybe it's about helping your daughters enjoy the magic of Halloween. And maybe you enjoy it too. Who says parents can't go trick-or-treating? Okay, maybe the costumes have to be reconsidered for some parents, but nonetheless, why not go trick-or-treating? I went out once as a kitty cat and got a lot of strange looks. I think it had something to do with the ears and the tail I actually made that came around the belt and hung there. But it's a lot of fun. I love Halloween, and I think we should all, even if we don't go to a party, which a lot of us aren't anymore, I would say celebrate the season, welcome in those who have passed, and know those that you love are well looked after. So next is Kat.
Kat. This is the Nine of Clubs, and it's sort of like, come on, darling, make your wish. Whenever I see this card, I think of the Spider and the Fly poem, where it's just like the spider, the fly's going, come into my parlor, make your wish. So first, be careful of the intention of your wish. We've discussed that before. Second, this is a time for you to be moving towards happiness and to not be afraid to embrace it. You deserve to be happy. Make that a mantra. Write it down every day. I deserve to be happy. Because that's what that card is saying. Your wishes are obtainable, and so is your happiness. And why wouldn't you deserve to be happy? And that card says there's no reason not to be happy. So move forward, write down your intention, as Darcy says in her, I want to call it a wishing book, but it's not. It's a box for gratitude or intentions. And start embracing your happiness.
All right. Patty says thank you. Annalisa, oops, I forgot to pull a card. You have, just a minute, let me find the card I want. Ooh, let's be a little daring. Okay. I want to tell you to write a book, a romantic book. You know, the kind where you see the guy with the waving hair and
the sleek muscles.
Yes. Feel like you're supposed to write a book, that you're supposed to rejoice in life. And maybe you're not writing about your own life, but you're writing about something that brings you humor, that is funny, that can lead into another book if you want to write it. But I also feel like you have a decision to make and you're sort of hesitating in the process. And why are you hesitating? Have you looked at it? Have you really stopped to say, am I hesitating because no one else agrees with this idea, or am I hesitating because I actually feel something's not right with it? And if that's the case, then hesitate. But if it's because you think, who's going to agree with what I do? Well, it doesn't matter if they agree with it. It's whether you agree with it. If it resonates with you, then you do it. Okay, and I'm not saying go out and buy a big ticket item without discussing it with the family. Okay, I'm just saying that there's something here you want to do. Like, let's say you have long hair and you want to cut it off. Well, it's your hair and it does grow. Okay, so it's something like that. All right. Kristen. Shay Shay. Hi, Shay Shay.
Shay Shay. The 8. I'm having problems holding cards today. Can you tell? The 8 of Chalice. I think that's the 8 of Chalice. This talks about how it is now time to move on to unfamiliar places. It's almost like saying, let go of the past, move forward, something new. Quit holding on to something that isn't working. Let go of it and move forward, or you're never going to find the thing that does work. It's like owning that $10 Timex that I used to have when I was really, really young. One of my first watches cost me $10. And it quit working, but I could not let this thing go. It didn't matter. The watch maker tried to fix it and it didn't fix. It was broken. And I held on to this, always hoping that it was going to fix. And eventually one day, I must ask that guy 3 or 4 times, like, can it be fixed? Have you learned how to fix it? And he literally picked it up from my hands and dropped it into the garbage can and said, fixed. Sometimes the way to fix something that isn't working is to walk away. You're probably not going to listen to that, I'm being told, but that's what that means. Sometimes throw it away. It's not going to fix.
All right. So I forgot to mention, Kristen said, thank you for doing this. Heather said, thank you. She is having a hard time with patience right now. Liam, thank you both. Lovely cutting knife. She said, ladies, I miss you. Cynthia said, thank you. And then there is, and Lovely said, I called mine a garden stone, laugh out loud, her bannock. And
I've made that as well.
Okay. Hi, Marie. You have the 2 cups. And the 2 cups is about relationship. Now, what I want to caution is the word relationship, when I use it, most people jump to, a partner. But relationship can be between you and your family, you and your friends, you and your coworkers, even you and your pets. Oh, and if you've got children, you and your children. And sometimes even our relationships have to have boundaries. I have a limit on how many times a person can upset me before I say something. So when I look at it and I look at what you're going through right now, that you do have some boundaries, and I feel like someone's stepping over the boundary within a relationship, and that you need to have a talk to them. And it could just be simply like, I'm really tired of you telling me I should change my hair color. And saying that, I can remember recently a number of people saying, oh, you've got to be over this age because you've got gray hair. And it's like, oh my God, I don't have to be over that age just because I have gray hair. Why can't I just have gray hair? Okay, maybe I was over the age. But it's the fact that they judge. There's what I'm looking for. Someone's judging you on something you do, and they don't have a right to, is basically what I'm saying, unless you allow them to do so. And so you need to say when enough is enough. Okay. Cousin Faye is next. Hi, Faye.
Faye, the card I chose for you is the Skull of Light, and it's illumination. The first time I saw this, it was my first thought is light your fire. No, I don't mean burn your house down or set the forest on flame, Faye. I mean literally light your candle, your internal candle. Be bright, be bold, be confident. Another message for you is remember, no matter how you try to fix it, you cannot change others' perceptions of what you did in the past. And that seems to be part of what you've got to shed a light on, is you cannot change their perceptions. The only thing you can change is how you think about you, how you feel about you, and where you're taking yourself on your journey. So light your fire, go have some fun, go on an adventure. And as always, come see me when you're in town. I have an extra bed now. Take care.
All right. Well, thank you, Jeanette. It says that her daughter is going to be a cat this year. That's nice. And so what you do is you sew the tail onto a belt and sew it on the front so it loops around, or you don't stuff it too heavy and you can get coat wire to do it. If they even make the metal coat wires.
Yes, you do.
And Annalisa said thank you, and so did Faye. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the show for tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember that next week it is going to be on Thursday because
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm going to be in a haunted house next Wednesday. So at which point, this is when I plugged my other show, Seeing Dead People, on Radio Sydney. So you could go on and have a listen. It's a podcast, and we're going to go looking for ghosts. Thank you again so much for coming. It's always a pleasure.
Well, everyone, I guess now I know that we're going to be next Thursday.
I told you at the beginning of the show.
You don't honestly expect. Remember, blonde hair, blue-eyed, a bit ditzy in my thought process. But anyway.
Yeah, stop using it as an excuse.
It's true, I am ditzy. But that being said, thank you, everybody, for coming on the show and for your patience and your support.
Yes, very much for your support. Without you, we couldn't do this.
Exactly. Anyone looking for a reading, you can reach me on my Facebook Messenger or my email, which I think Darcy has right this time.
Yep.
And thank you. So I'm going to always end with my favorite saying again, Masalama, go in light or go with light. Many blessings.
And may love, joy, peace, happiness, and prosperity find you all in mysterious ways. Blessed be everyone, and have a fantastic week. See you again soon.